This is a public health announcement brought to you by Heathar Shepherd,
the Primal Pioneer. Live an outdoor life.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Primal Pioneer. I'm your host, Heathar Shepherd, and today you're listening to episode 11, How Blue Light Destroys Your Health. During this episode, I talk about the effects of non-native blue light on your biology and mitochondrial function. Non-native meaning it's not coming from our native source of light, the sun. It's coming from an artificial, non-native source. And during this episode, I'm going to dive into the impact exposure to non-native blue light has on your health, including significantly increased risks for all chronic diseases such as cancer, type 2 diabetes, obesity, depression, and gut health issues. I also talk about the impact of non-native blue light for those with Lyme and degenerative eye conditions as well. Today, many people are becoming more aware of the harmful effects that non-native blue light has on their health, but not many people are taking this topic to heart. They're not taking it seriously enough. Really, non-native blue light is at the heart of all chronic health diagnoses today. So this is a topic that has the potential to vastly improve your health and healing outcomes and has the potential to be a true, authentic source of preventative medicine for you along your path to optimal health. During this episode, I'm also going to talk about how non-native blue light impacts vitamin A and vitamin D levels, how it increases cancer risk, increases risk for depression and mental health issues, how non-native blue light impacts chronic pain, how non-native blue light impacts inflammation in the body, and I'll teach you how you can effectively and accurately gauge your inflammation levels by requesting a certain lab the next time you get your blood work done, and why intermittent fasting and keto diets will only get you so far. And I also give you solutions as to how you can mitigate your non-native blue light exposure and environment to help support your health in optimal ways. This is a powerful episode that has the potential to give you a big health boost. So enjoy this episode and learning how to improve your light environment to support forward movement towards your health goals. So let's dive into this topic all about non-native blue light toxicity. I am really excited to connect with you all about this topic because it's the number one most overlooked topic that healthcare professionals are missing today. When you walk into your doctor's office, they're likely bombarded by non-native blue light when you walk in there. There's screens in there. They're using LED lights. They're using fluorescent lights. They're using poor lighting. There's a lot of devices going on. And this in itself sets the stage for all chronic disease. We cannot walk into a place to get healing when we're surrounded by these main elements of non-native blue light that steals our life energy, that offsets circadian biology, and that creates something called melanopsin dysfunction, which I'm going to talk about during this episode today. Melanopsin dysfunction is simply a result of non-native blue light toxicity that sets the stage for every single chronic disease today. And we're going to dive into this layer by layer during the episode so you can be empowered when it comes to this very important step along your healing path and journey. This topic is so incredibly important because it sets the stage. This sets you up to being predisposed for acquiring a chronic disease. And most notably chronic diseases of aging. So we're talking about things like cancer, type 2 diabetes, obesity, gut issues, even things like Lyme may seem totally unrelated to non-native blue light. But there is a lot of evidence out there when you understand how Lyme works, when you understand how your mitochondria work as an engine and as an antenna. When we interact with frequencies that are non-native, that are alien to our body, into our cells, into our mitochondria, it creates real issues. So even disorders like Lyme and autoimmunity are greatly impacted by non-native blue light. So non-native blue light, what is this? Where does it come from? Maybe you all have heard of this because there's a lot of information being shared out there right now with regard to blue blocking glasses and keeping your devices and computer in dark mode when you're on them. People are catching on, but we need to catch on a lot more quickly and take this topic a lot more seriously when it comes to preventing chronic disease and actually stopping chronic disease in its tracks. So this is truly a form of preventative medicine when you learn how to block non-native blue light from your life. And the reason being is because non-native blue light has a very, very destructive impact on your circadian biology. And those of you who have been following me for quite some time now, and maybe you've listened to some of the episodes here on season 1, you know that your circadian biology is what allows you to tell time. It allows you to tell night from day, hour from hour, season from season. And all chronic disease today can be traced back to circadian mismatch, meaning your time clocks in your body can no longer accurately tell time. And the way you accurately tell time on a biological level, you're literally programmed 3.8 billion years ago for your biological time clock to be in sync with sunlight. And so over time, we've gradually moved indoors more and more. We're no longer living outdoors. A new study just came out that says the average person spends 15 minutes a day outside. That's pathetic. You know, really, we need to get into the hours. We need to be outside for hours. That's how our biology is programmed to function. When you're inside, you're not only missing the native frequencies from sunlight that your biology is attuned to function with, your biology is optimized to run when exposed to the frequencies found in sunlight. And when you're inside, these frequencies are blocked by windows. Windows block a minimum of 50% of the red light coming through, making it a blue light toxic environment already. And windows block UV light entirely. So right here, we're setting the stage for blue light toxicity simply by being indoors. Now, when we add things like artificial light, such as LEDs, such as fluorescence, such as the light coming from anything with a screen, your cell phone, your computer, your iPad, your tablet, etc., these things then even dominate your environment more so with non-native blue light. And when you really understand that your metabolism functions primarily off of the light that you're exposed to, it's no shock as to why metabolic diseases like cancer, like obesity, like type 2 diabetes, like hormonal imbalances, like infertility, like gut issues are all on the rise. We're not improving our light environment. We're seeing doctor after doctor, and they're giving us supplements and diet plans that do not factor in this very overlooked yet most crucial aspect of your metabolism, of your health, of your mitochondrial function, of your circadian biology, which is the light that you're in every single day. When you're basking under non-native blue light, again, non-native meaning this is an artificial light. It's not coming from the native sun, because the sun does contain some blue light, especially during sunrise and sunset. However, you will never find blue light in the sun without red light. Red light is an antidote to blue. So, sunlight naturally contains this nice balance. And this balance is actually incredibly important to helping to support your hormones, to helping the hormones release from your anterior pituitary gland during certain times of the day. When you look in the direction of the sun and blue light is present with that red, this is absolutely vital, huge, crucial light to be looking at for anyone with a hormonal or metabolic imbalance. However, blue light in our devices, in LEDs, in fluorescents, they do not contain any red light. And so the frequencies of blue that you get from these artificial sources have very significant, dangerous outcomes on your health. And so to really give you an idea of this, I'm going to explain something called melanopsin dysfunction. So let's talk about melanopsin. What is it? Why is it important? And why does non-native blue light destroy your melanopsin cycle? And why is that even a concern when it comes to preventing all chronic disease and diseases of aging? Well, melanopsin, it's primarily located in your eyes, in your skin. It's even located in your blood vessels. It's located in your subcutaneous fat. And it's a photoreceptor. It is designed to interact with light, and it interacts very intimately with melatonin, with your circadian clocks, all throughout your body to help set the circadian rhythms and mechanism of your body. Your melanopsin function is a main way that your body is able to tell time. Melanopsin is an opsin, and you have many opsins in your body. We have rhodopsin, we have neuropsin, and all opsins are bound to vitamin A in diurnal animals. Diurnal meaning we sleep at night. We're not nocturnal, okay? Nocturnal animals have a much stronger covalent bond between vitamin A and melanopsin because they're nocturnal. They're supposed to be up at night. Their biology is hardwired for this. Our biology is not. And this is why we see such chronic health issues in people who are night owls and in people who are night shift workers and in those who have poor sleep and can't sleep at night. These individuals tend to have much more advanced issues going on with their health. So in humans, melanopsin is bound to vitamin A by a loose covalent bond. This means that the bond is broken very, very easily. And one of the things that breaks this bond super easily is non-native blue light. So now this story might be making more sense because melanopsin is a blue light detector. So anytime it comes in contact with blue light by itself, the melanopsin receptor is destroyed and vitamin A becomes uncoupled. So coupled meaning it sits together with melanopsin. Uncoupled means vitamin A is free floating around in the area where melanopsin dysfunction occurred. And this is very dangerous, actually. So part of the melanopsin dysfunction issue is it destroys your circadian biology. And part of this is due to blue light's impact on vitamin A. Blue light literally destroys vitamin A. And vitamin A plays a super crucial role in the health and maintenance of your circadian biology. When vitamin A is unbound, uncoupled from melanopsin, it's decreased in the plasma. So your plasma levels of vitamin A or retinol drop. And when this happens, this is super detrimental to anyone who's at risk for cancer or other chronic diseases, but really in terms of cancer, because when this occurs, autophagy is destroyed and melatonin levels drop. And we know in cancer that one of the main goals is to restore autophagy. And another main goal of someone who has cancer is to improve melatonin levels. And we now know that melatonin levels actually determine your ability to accomplish autophagy and apoptosis, which is really crucial for anyone with cancer or looking to prevent cancer. However, What we're not looking at is this impact of non-native blue light on those regeneration programs that is super vital. So you could do things that stimulate autophagy, such as intermittent fasting, or get on a ketogenic diet. All of the things we're told stimulate autophagy. But if you're doing those things and you're still looking at non-native blue light, let me tell you, it's not going to get you very far. So really, if we want to utilize the benefits of things like intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet, when it comes to cancer prevention or overcoming cancer or overcoming obesity or type 2 diabetes or other mitochondrial diseases, we need to factor in this whole story about light. You cannot get very far with your healing process long term if you don't factor in light. What's your light environment like? Are you exposed to non-native blue light on a regular basis? If so, your circadian biology is really taking a toll. Vitamin A is unbound from melanopsin, which decreases vitamin A levels in the plasma and prevents you from running a key regeneration program of autophagy and decreases melatonin levels. So this is a big deal when it comes to mitigating blue light for protecting your health and your circadian biology. One thing I want to mention here is the relationship between vitamin A and vitamin D. It's a very, very intimate one, and they play off of each other. So many people who have low vitamin D levels, yes, this is due to a sunlight deficiency, and it's also due to a blue light toxic environment and living and or working situation. So a vitamin D supplement is not going to help rectify the issue when your vitamin A is continuously getting destroyed by non-native blue light exposure. If we really want to take this story to deeper levels, if we really want to utilize the benefit of something like a vitamin D supplement, you have to improve your light environment to get the full benefits of the supplement if you choose to use that for your healing process. Now, I don't use a lot of supplementation with the clients I work with unless there's a serious need to. For example, someone came into my practice last week with a vitamin D of 12. That is incredibly dangerous. It's super low. Anything below 20 is a red flag. You want to look for cancer. So when I see a vitamin D at 12, I get very concerned about cancer and also autoimmunity. This is an individual who we worked with around supplementation, but I had to tell this person it's not going to work. The supplement isn't going to help you. It may even cause more harm if you don't change your light environment. So we cannot simply prescribe supplements without teaching people how to change their light environment, because you're biologically hardwired to produce certain nutrients, photochemicals, neurotransmitters, amino acids, probiotics. When you're exposed to sunlight, you're biologically hardwired to create these things when sunlight hits your eyes, hits your skin, interacts with your blood vessels. Red light penetrates through your entire body. Then there are very, very good reasons for this. It's not by chance that red light penetrates throughout your entire body. It's not by chance that UV light is in the sun and UV light detectors are also on your inner mitochondrial membrane, okay? These things have very, very specific purposes for your biology, for the way we run, for the way we're supposed to produce energy, for the way we're designed to age gracefully, for the way we're supposed to detox. This is the way we're designed to function and live optimally. And when we go away from sunlight and when we move more towards blue light and inundate ourselves with non-native blue light, this is when the issues occur. Today, this is why we're seeing many studies that actually show you can get things like type 2 diabetes, obesity, cancer, immune imbalances simply by looking at blue light. So this is despite the diet. If we just change the light environment, all of those chronic illnesses increase. you increase your susceptibility to those chronic illnesses. So a lot of people take measures to block blue light from their eyes. They wear blue blocking glasses, which I highly recommend, and I'll post a link in the show notes to the blue blocking glasses I recommend. Really, not all blue blocking glasses are created equal at this point in time. There are many that do a much better job of blocking the full spectrum of non-native blue light than others. And I'll share a link with you all in the show notes to the blue light blocking glasses that I recommend. But also, melanopsin is also found in your skin. So we need to take measures to protect our skin as well. And you can do this in a couple ways. One way I suggest is to download a program called Iris on your computer and keep it in sleep mode. I'll put a link in the show notes to Iris as well. You can use the link to get 10% off. It's a super affordable program. It's well worth your investment to save your circadian biology and to protect your melatonin levels. But what I do is I have Iris on my computer. I keep it in sleep mode 98% of the time, and this makes my screen red. So we know red is the antidote to blue, so it blocks the blue light from my screen. So when I look at a screen to write a social media post or record a podcast, or when I do a Zoom call with a client, my screen's red. And there's a very big reason for this, because I know how important it is to protect my circadian biology and my melatonin levels. And since I made this one single shift in my life, I sleep better, I maintain a healthy weight, my hormones are balanced, and my energy is far greater than when I was looking at a blue lit screen all day for my work. So know that there are ways that you can still interact with social media, technology, your devices when you need to, by simply blocking the blue light, by taking measures to mitigate blue light on your devices and save and protect your circadian biology. It's really not that hard. We just have to make the effort to do so, and we have to take the whole light environment much more seriously than we have so far. So my recommendations to protect yourself from non-native blue light exposure: wear your blue blocking glasses when you're on any device. Again, the link for that is in the show notes. Download Iris on your computer and keep it in sleep mode as much as you can. This will make your screen red, thereby blocking the blue light from your screen. Also, when you're on a device, wear clothing. So don't look on your computer streaming Netflix after you got out of the shower and you're in your towel or half naked looking at a screen. That's going to cause significant melanopsin dysfunction and blue light toxicity to your entire body. So I don't recommend that. Be as covered as you can when you're on these devices. That might sound extreme, but we know that melanopsin is located in the skin and the subcutaneous fat, and that blue light penetrates those areas, disrupting circadian biology and vitamin A levels. So this is a really important step. Often when I need to be on the computer in the summertime and it's 90, 98 degrees outside, I'm in a long sleeve shirt because I really want to take measures to protect my circadian biology, and I highly recommend you do it as well. Those are 3 key suggestions I would give to you to help improve your circadian biology and diminish your non-native blue light exposure starting right now. We cannot dismiss the non-native EMFs that often accompany non-native blue light as well. Non-native blue light is a type of non-native EMF. However, other non-native EMFs such as radio frequencies and microwave frequencies, etc., often come with non-native blue light as well, especially if you're on a device, a computer, an iPhone, a laptop, etc. So it's very important to follow the recommendations on some of the earlier episodes here where we talked about 5G and non-native EMFs and testing your EMF environment. Super crucial to take those things into consideration because non-native EMFs can also contribute to melanopsin dysfunction and a disruption in the circadian biology. So we really want to marry these two preventative medicine strategies together to give your circadian biology the very best boost and protection and benefit. So I won't go into great detail about the non-native EMFs here because we've done some other episodes thus far on those topics, but just keep in mind you want to keep your phone in airport mode. You never want to carry your cell phone on your body when it's not in airport mode. Please take this recommendation seriously. This is not something to mess around with. Even in the iPhone owner's manual, it talks about how the device causes DNA damage and destruction to your health when you put it on your body. This is not just up to your ear. This is carrying it in your back pocket, in your front pocket, in your bra, etc. You never want to carry the phone on you unless it's in airplane mode. I see so many people getting prostate cancer, reproductive cancers, breast cancers in areas where they've carried their phone. They've gone for a run with their phone in their bra, and the tumor shows up exactly where the phone was placed in their bra. Or guys are getting prostate cancer now from resting their cell phone on their laps when driving. These are very, very crucial recommendations to take into deep consideration when it comes to your health. Most healthcare practitioners won't tell you this, and this is why their suggestions will only get you so far, because you can take supplements and eat a great diet. However, if your circadian biology is in a mismatched state, none of those things are going to matter. So let's talk about the topic of inflammation here for a minute, because it's an important one and it actually ties in very intimately to this whole non-native blue light topic. A lot of people reach out to me asking for suggestions on anti-inflammatory foods. What about eggs? What about dairy? What about sugar? What about grains? Are these inflammatory foods? And really, there are a couple suggestions I would give here to any of you out there struggling with high inflammation levels. If you're somebody who's curious about your inflammation levels, you're not yet sure, or maybe your doctor has tested for this, look on your labs for a test called HSCRP, high sensitivity CRP. If your level is over 0.5, that's a red flag to me that there's inflammation going on in the body. I want that level as close to 0 as possible. The closer to 0, the less inflammation there is going on in the body. So that's one marker you can use to detect your inflammation levels. Not all doctors will run this lab. They'll usually run something called CRP, definitely not the same as HSCRP. So really, I would encourage you to be on your doctors about running HSCRP and not CRP. It's your right to have the blood work done that you need for your own health. So if they tell you no, that answer is not acceptable. And I'm suggesting this because so often people come into my practice, I give them a recommended list of blood work to obtain. They come back with 1/4 of the blood work saying that the doctor wouldn't let them get, the other 3/4 of their blood work done. That's not acceptable. Really, it's okay. You want to be your own health advocate in these situations, because when you get these labs drawn, they tell me a lot of information about your health. And so your doctor may think it's nonsensical. However, many of them don't know how to look at the labs in this mitochondrial perspective on these deeper layers. They don't know what to look at with regard to cancer markers and autoimmune markers. And so it's really important to get the blood work that you need and desire, and don't let your doctor tell you no if you're really wanting a lab drawn to help you get clarity around your own personal healing journey. Okay, so inflammation. HSCRP is a great marker to look at to detect your inflammation levels. Keep in mind that everyone has different reactions to different foods and substances with regard to the inflammatory response created in their body. we have done a great disservice to many people with gut health issues and autoimmune conditions, telling them to avoid things like eggs and nightshade vegetables. Some people may in fact need to avoid those things. However, some people may need those foods, and this is so individually based. Most people react strongly to nightshade vegetables because let's think about where these vegetables are grown. They're grown in high UV light. Most people who eat these vegetables and have poor reactions to them have a UV light deficiency and have a vitamin D deficiency. And so when they're eating a food containing a lot of light that they're lacking in from sunlight, it also creates circadian mismatch. So we really need to take a deeper look at inflammation. And I bring it up in this episode because one of the most overlooked causes of inflammation is non-native blue light. So if you're someone who's looking to reduce the amount of inflammation in your life, really a proactive root place to start from is taking a close look at your light environment, blocking the blue, and taking the measures to improve your environment, improve your light environment. I'll even put the link to the light bulbs I recommend on the show notes because these bulbs are what I use at night when I need to use a light. Often, I use candlelight. I rarely will use a light bulb. When I do, there are a certain kind of amber light bulb. Sometimes I'll use a red light at night, but know if you already have a mitochondrial disease that you're not going to want to use red light at night. So the amber bulb will be better in these situations, and I will put a link up to the amber bulbs that I recommend. And this way, your circadian biology will be saved at night. You really don't want to put blue light on during the nighttime because we're diurnal animals. We're not nocturnal. So there can be an even greater risk and harm involved when looking at blue light after sunset. Personally, people look at blue light far too much throughout their day as well. And so these recommendations are very key and vital to implement during the daytime. But know if you're a night owl or if you have a lot of lights on in your home at night, or maybe you like to stream Netflix or these sort of things, it's very important to tweak your light environment to negate the blue. And one way you can do that is swapping out LEDs and fluorescent lights for your amber bulbs and for candles. This will have remarkable impacts on your inflammation levels. Also, I want to bring up a common area that people tend to struggle with, which is pain. A lot of people struggle with pain, and there are a lot of pain medications prescribed today. A lot of people go to chiropractors, acupuncturists, massage therapists for chronic pain. And if you're someone out there who experiences chronic pain, I want to invite you to look at your non-native blue light exposure. Night shift workers are the highest users of pain medication. And this is no shocker because their circadian biology is shot and their pain receptors are dulled. They're not working adequately because these pain receptors are closely tied to your circadian mechanism. We know that night shift workers are swimming in a sea of artificial light during times of the day when we're supposed to be sleeping and surrounded by darkness, by total darkness. So if you have chronic pain, the night shift workers gave us a very, very important clue. Check your light environment. Check your light environment during the day and during night. Let's take a look at some other conditions that tend to be highly affected by light environment. One big one is cancer, and we talked a little bit about that with regard to melanopsin dysfunction and when the vitamin A cycle is destroyed by non-native blue light, thereby destroying autophagy and lowering melatonin levels. That right there is a recipe for cancer. So anybody with cancer, you want to look at your light environment. You want to look at your non-native EMF environment. These are never addressed in standard of care, of course, and almost never addressed even in the naturopathic functional medicine world. These are absolutely vital to the cancer healing process. It's why all of my clients who reach out to me with cancer, part of their program is designed around improving their light environment and sunlight exposure. And I openly tell them, the less you make these light changes, the more concerned I am with cancer reoccurrence. And this is because non-native blue light has very detrimental impacts on your melatonin levels. And we know that melatonin is the key to running autophagy and apoptosis, and that these regen programs in people with cancer are often shot. So if we want to get to the root of cancer, we need to start by restoring circadian biology. And that starts with improving your light environment. Lyme is another one that I talked about in the beginning of the episode. And Lyme symptoms can be very obscure. They can be hard to pinpoint. And doctors often dismiss Lyme symptoms as psychosomatic or something caused by anxiety or depression, when really we know this is not accurate, that people with Lyme simply have varying states of symptoms that could change moment to moment. They're very hard to pinpoint, and doctors tend to dismiss these symptoms very rapidly, but we can take a closer look at these. So some people with Lyme, they know they got bit by a tick. They remember the situation where that occurred in. Not everyone does. And it doesn't matter if you're out there and you're someone with Lyme, it doesn't matter if you recall an incident by being bit by a tick or not. What it comes down to is that Lyme symptoms are worsened by exposure to non-native blue light and non-native EMFs. This causes havoc on the nervous system, on the circadian mechanism, on brainwave patterns, on the gut-brain axis, on the blood-brain barrier. And these are all things we want to be improving with the individual who has Lyme. So those who come to me with Lyme, this is a huge area we address first. Let's improve your light environment. Let's improve your EMF environment. And these can have astounding positive impacts. I've seen it take the housebound individual with Lyme to being more active out in the world, out in their community, with the work they're passionate about. This can be a big game changer just by taking a look at these two things. Depression is a big one when it comes to blue light exposure because we make dopamine in AM sunlight. So non-native blue light depletes the amount of dopamine you're able to produce. And so this is a key obvious link here between low dopamine states and depression, low dopamine states and suicide, low dopamine states and poor muscle quality. There are huge links here, and the more one is exposed to non-native blue light, the worse a depressive state becomes. And this absolutely blows my mind when mental health doctors prescribe antidepressants to their clients without improving their light environment. So the client may feel like they're on cloud 9 because they're not taking a shit ton of lithium. But all day, they're in a work environment filled with non-native blue light and non-native EMF. And then they go home and they watch Netflix under non-native blue light. And they go to the gym and they're working out under non-native blue light. And they feel like they're on cloud 9, so they think their depression's getting better, when really their dopamine state is just getting lower and lower. So the individual will always continuously throughout their life need higher doses of things like lithium and antidepressants, because if they go an ounce off of those things, their dopamine levels are so incredibly low that they feel like they're in the worst downward depression they've ever experienced in their whole life. So if any of you out there are struggling with depression or know somebody who is, know that you make dopamine in AM sunlight. You make serotonin in AM sunlight, two key feel-good neurotransmitters. And these two things are depleted excessively by non-native blue light. So again, are drugs the answer? Yeah, they can help someone through a really intense depressive state, but let's take proactive measures to get somebody off of these drugs while improving their environment. Eye issues are a huge one, also pretty obvious as well. Ocular melanoma is the fastest growing melanoma right now because everyone's looking at blue light. We're also seeing increasing rates of myopia and retinal detachment in very young populations. We're also seeing macular degeneration in young populations, and this is not acknowledged by the ophthalmologists. The light environment is not taken into consideration by eye doctors today, and this is really doing a huge disservice to anyone with eye issues. You all know that the main circadian clock of the body is located right behind the retina and the SCN, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and that the light that interacts with your eye determines your circadian biology. So really, if you're an ophthalmologist, you're thinking about becoming one, you love the eyes, you know somebody who's an eye doctor, please invite them to learn about light. There's so much in the literature out there tying in metabolism with light, tying in retinal detachment with a poorly lit environment, tying in macular degeneration with a poorly lit environment. These issues are no longer just issues of aging. These issues are occurring in 10, 12, 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds, and it is tied into a poor light environment. And doctors aren't getting the message quite yet. Hopefully they'll catch on, but they're not getting it yet. The other day, I walked into the eye doctor with my partner, and what do we have going on is LEDs flashing at us. They still flash a blue light literally right in the eye at the SCN when they're looking at your retina. These are the standard of practice that's being used today that are actually detrimental to eye health. So it doesn't line up when it comes to preventative medicine or taking measures to improve your health on these deeper layers. And most of the medical profession is way behind the bus on this light topic, which is why it's super important for you to take this matter into your own hands at this time and improve your light environment. Get iris, get your blue blockers, cover your skin when you're on your devices. Start there, okay? These are great starting places that will help preserve your circadian biology. The last condition I want to talk about is gut issues and how they're related to light. I've talked about this a bit on other episodes, but I just love talking about the gut. And we seem to be infatuated with giving probiotics and strict elimination diets to people with gut issues. And these never get to the root of the issue. People go off of these diets and their symptoms are still there. Or people never go off of the diet because they're terrified if they do that their symptoms will still be there, which they often are because we're not getting to the root of the issue. And when it comes to gut health, we really need to take into consideration how the light that hits your surfaces, meaning your eyes and your skin primarily, how they send the messages to the circadian clocks in your gut. This is a very counterintuitive way that the body works. Most people, when they look at a health condition, let's say Crohn's or colitis or IBD, they'll look to the gut for the main issue. And we're putting blinders on. We need to expand our vision when it comes to gut health and really take into consideration the impact that light has on the gut. And we can see this in Jeff Leach's work with the Hadza in Tanzania, and he samples their stool. And he'll feed them atrocious diets, the worst Western diet you could ever imagine, including antibiotics, soda, candy bars, the whole 9 yards. And he tests their stool before and after. Does their stool change? No, it does not, because their circadian biology is on point because they live an outdoor life exposed to equatorial sunlight 365 days a year. This is huge in terms of anyone with a chronic health issue or gut health issue, because simply using the sunlight to improve your circadian biology has the biggest potential, in my experience, to improve your gut health, despite what any doctor tells you. And one thing we know in the literature when we look at gut issues is that when vitamin D gets above 60, Crohn's symptoms virtually go away, as well as colitis symptoms, and the need for surgeries goes down tremendously. And how are you designed to make vitamin D? From LDL cholesterol and 312 nanometer light. So this is huge. This is huge information for anyone with gut issues because a lot of people with gut issues try every diet, every supplement under the sun, except for the sun. So this is an invitation to you to extend your gut healing protocols to sunlight. And you can do so by purchasing my Sunlight RX ebook or joining my Sunlight RX community, which is a bit more involved, has videos that are posted several times a month to help you improve your gut health and your circadian biology using sunlight. You can join that over at patreon.com/sunlightrx. So I hope this episode was insightful with regard to blue light, why it's dangerous, why it's so important to improve your light environment. Know that the more sun you get, the more melatonin you make, and the more melatonin you make, the healthier your mitochondria will be. Your health is only as good as your mitochondrial function. That is key. So we really want to take measures to improve our mitochondrial health. A huge way to do that is to mitigate your non-native blue light environment by following the suggestions I outlined in the episode here today, while simultaneously improving your sunlight exposure. A lot of people ask me, Heather, what does this mean to improve my sunlight exposure? I go out for 15 minutes in afternoon sunlight, and that's what I'm told I need to make vitamin D. This is nowhere near the amount of sunlight you need, nor in the sequence that you need sunlight. The Sunlight RX teaches you how to build up your skin's ability to absorb UVB light later in the day. Really, your ability to absorb UVB light is not determined by you just going out in afternoon sunlight when vitamin D light is present. Your ability to make vitamin D depends on several things. One, you have to prep your skin to be able to absorb it. Two, we have to make sure that you're not slathering things on your skin that block vitamin D absorption, which extends far beyond sunscreen to the realms of lotions and perfumes and all of these sort of things. And then we need to look at your ability to actually make vitamin D when you're exposed to sunlight. So there's some very crucial things in place here that are very important to understand and take into consideration before just going out into afternoon sunlight. The situation is much more complex than that. But the medical profession will mislead you in this way, telling you only need 15 minutes of UVB sunlight to make vitamin D, which is absolutely inaccurate. So if you're someone out there and you think you have melanopsin dysfunction, follow the non-native blue light blocking strategies that I outlined on this episode for you here today. Get your Sunlight RX on and know that the path to healing is much simpler and much more straightforward than many people lead you to believe, including most healthcare professionals. Yes, there are some really great healthcare professionals out there today, absolutely. However, often people are not getting the full truth about why they got sick and how they can actually work to improve root causes as to why they got sick in the first place. And learning how to mitigate your non-native blue light environment is a really great place to start, as well as getting back to nature and getting in sunlight. I hope you found this episode insightful along your healing path and uplifting to you as you dive into these deeper realms of your health and healing. If you want to learn more about my approach to health and healing, you can visit me at heatharshepard.com, heatharshepard.com. You can follow me on social media, on Instagram at sunlight_rx, or on Facebook at Heather Shepard. And I often post there on a pretty daily basis, providing my audience with really key ways to improve their circadian biology and their lifestyles through light, through improving your light environment, through up-to-date studies that actually target the mitochondria and your circadian biology. So if you want to stay up to date and learn more about these aspects of our health that tend to be swept under the carpet or not considered, not acknowledged, or simply not known at this point in time, I'm going to keep you up to date, and you can follow me on social media to do so. For those of you interested in taking a deep dive into some one-on-one healing work, I will be opening my one-on-one healing practice on December 11th, 2019, and that will remain open until spaces are full, and you're welcome to contact me on my site, heatharshepard.com, to inquire about one-on-one healing work. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you next time. The Primal Pioneer podcast is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease, and is not intended as medical advice or treatment. Heather is not responsible for your health or healing outcomes, nor are any of her guests on the show. The information shared here is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any illness in the Western medical sense or terms, and is intended as educational and informational purposes only.